Yo guys, took a trip out to northern Alabama. See my friend Dylan, as you guys saw before, Anvil JKU, Anvil Ruby. You guys say that in a second, but here's the Jeep. Did really well coming down here, other than the wobble issue, which, you know, as I've shown you, we got the sector shaft track bar brace, energy track bar, all new steering, everything. That's not really the issue here, so it's going to be, you know, like with the wheels and tires. So that's what we got to look at too. Next is ring spacers for the Method B locks, either that or just get rid of them, because we are and have been considering spider lock wheels. So, you know, same thing as the slabs, but possibly going to be, you know, doing some custom work on those, cutting the stars out and then making them into slabs. But we really enjoy how those ride a lot more, just how they're designed with the threads and the wheels and the rings, a lot more solid design. So you know, no leaks or anything with that. Never had issues with running ATX wheels over the years, so may end up going to those if we do not end up you know, fixing these wheels. So the issue with that is the space for the bead of the tire. So like the ring is like too far down, so the bolts run out of room to go. So they're like pretty much over torqued, I guess you could say. So they're not properly seated. So I guess you could say the ring is not really 100% symmetrical all the way around in terms of where it's seated. So I guess that's not allowing it to roll 100% smoothly. So, you know, it's not the first case of this happening. I have heard of a couple other people having this issue as well. So you know, probably either considering fixing them, you know, with the ring spacers off of the Method website, or just getting rid of them. Because one thing we did not really like about these was the threads are actually tapped into the wheel itself, so there's no removable thread. And the wheel being aluminum, you know, the threads and that strip easy, and then, you know, pretty much the wheel, that's the wheel. So, you know, on an ATX wheel with the threads, they're removable and they're steel inserts, so they don't really strip. And if they do, you know, you can remove it, add another one. But the ATX wheels have a lot thicker bolts. You know, these are known to break off randomly on the street, so definitely considering that in the near future. So, you know, with the ATX wheels, we actually never had to balance them, and they always rode smooth. All right, guys, so if you remember this Jeep, here it is again. It's on 37s now with spider locks. So as you saw last time, it was on the Methods with the 40s, but is no longer anymore. And no, those are not the same ones. This is the setup that you guys saw last time. So obviously Rubicon, King coilovers, you guys saw all that last time. Yeti steer smarts, flip steer, all that good stuff. Cool stuff. Let's see, he's gonna be repainting his wheels sometime soon, possibly going back to 40s because he's on Cooper 37s. Thought he'd try that for a little bit. But yeah, so you got a little bit of rock rash on the rings, and, you know, spider locks being the same as the slab. Everything's the same except for that star right here on the ring. So pretty cool. So when we get them with the color combination that we're gonna want to do, probably gonna cut the star out, and that'll probably look better for what we're gonna end up shooting for. But yeah, so we're probably thinking about washing up the Jeeps too, getting the paint nice and shining, sparkling and popping, you know what I'm saying, sometime this weekend. But yeah, so this is an update on Anvil Ruby, guys. So this is from the last video that you guys saw it. Oh, he's also put on his factory flares, trimmed those up, so Looks nice, as you guys can see that. That was also added since last time. Oh, you got rock crawler arms now, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
arms,
all 8.
The Yeti steer smarts.
Yeah, I remember you didn't have that last time. That's cool. So you got that, all that in.
Yeah, changed out the stabilizer. I've got the Yeti track bar too.
Yeah, that's nice. So, you know, guys, when he had the Method wheels, he actually had the same exact issue as I'm having right now, including one tire leaking very, very slowly air. So, what's up, guys? So we're out here right now. Dylan and I are parking our Jeeps. You know, probably gonna be on Instagram, but this is what we're doing right now. And I just thought I would show you. It's a pretty cool spot. And sunlight's hitting it pretty good. I'm gonna try to get some good pictures where I can, but it's definitely really cool. Just like see the water and everything, the way the sun's hitting everything too. It just looks really sick. Yeah, Jeep has a lot of bugs on it from driving at night. It's like you can see on the windshield and stuff. It just got covered, so I have to pressure wash it soon. But pretty cool spot. Yo guys, we ran across this Jeep for sale. Dylan actually knows the guy that's got it for sale. I think he's asking about $25K for it. So it's got, you know, 1 tons front and rear. Looks like some fuel ends of bead logs, 43-inch super swamper tires there. It's got a LS engine in there. So, you know, fully custom mount cage. Bucket seats, all that good stuff. It's you know, it needs a little bit of body work, I guess, depending on your expectations of, you know, what you want. But it's a trail rig, so you know, it's got I think it's triangulated 4-link, something like that. You know, the control arms and all that. Show you guys, it's pretty cool. All that custom welded on. So you got pinion skid, all that stuff. And all these skids. It looks like it's got a fuel cell relocate. Pretty interesting. It's got bump stops for the control arms. Kind of noticed that a minute ago. Never seen that before. But yeah, definitely a trail rig, that's for sure. Needs to be cleaned. It look pretty spiffy. Got some white doors on it right now, but hey, if you guys know of anybody that needs a bikini top for a 2-door JK, been riding around with this in the bed. Riding around town with it back of the bed because I had sold the other top and I brought it for extra just in case. But yeah, been riding around with it, and we're about to go out on the water now, so it's gonna be a good time. All right, so it is about that time for an oil change, getting close to 5,000 miles. I usually do it every 3,000 miles on Jeeps, just because, you know, you're kind of expecting a little bit more out of them in terms of just going to the mall and back, I guess, really. You know, you got larger tires, you know, putting a little bit more strain on the engine, and then obviously using it off-road, a little bit more dirt in the intake, stuff like that. So, you know, it always can't hurt to do it early. So usually do it every 3,000 miles, even with synthetic. But since this Jeep, you know, is new, we since the first 5,000 miles, there's really not a whole lot of reason to do it at 3,000, just because there's, you know, not really any buildup or anything there. So we figured the first one could probably hold out to 5,000. So apparently we've been told by the dealer that they use Pennzoil oil from the factory, and we were almost about to buy the same oil as used in the JK, and then also the filter as well, but luckily last minute we caught ourselves and double checked online. The filter is actually different. So from the 2015 and up JK, I believe, uses the same filter as the JL. But on our 2013, we used MO744 filter, which I believe they changed to this filter in 2015. So I think they started using those on newer JKs, and the JLs, obviously the Gladiator. So glad we saw that and caught that before we got the wrong filter. So that is all good there. And the oil is also different as well. So it's actually 0W20 with only 5 quarts, not 6, on these newer 3.6s for the JL and the Gladiator. So that's what we've been told. You know, not 100% sure if that's all true for like the earlier 2018 years. I believe it is, but that's what we've been told, and that's what we are going with. Look at the engine oil fill cap and verify that it is 0W20 before I start pouring it in there. And yeah, it's not going to take long to change this. All we got to do, pop the hood, change the cartridge filter, drain the old oil, pour the new oil in, check it with the dipstick, and then pour the old oil back in the container, and then recycle that to our local oil dispenser, wherever works. So we had some complications when we were looking at the oil choices, like in the brands and stuff. So like pretty much all the 0W20 all said like high miles, extended performance, 15,000 miles, you know, all that blah 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 stuff. So, you know, this only having 5,000 miles on it, we didn't really think the high mileage formula was really necessary, because we didn't really know a whole lot about it. So we didn't want to start dumping stuff in there that, you know, we don't need. So we wanted to play it safe on that before we really knew, you know, all the details of everything. So, you know, we've always used Mobile One, so you know, played it safe on that. So I mean, extended performance, 15,000 miles, guaranteed protection. So I mean, it didn't seem too over the top fancy. It seems like it'll get the job done, you know, safely without having any kind of weird stuff going on. The Pennzoil oil actually was like high mileage, and it said a couple of weird other things. So that's another reason why we went with Mobile One, because it was so simple. So I just got back from a road trip, and as you can see, there are bugs literally all over. You can't even see out the windshield really. It felt like we were driving in rain. It was really bad. And all over the grill, and they're actually on the C yokes too, on the axle housing, bumper, everything. So I'm gonna pressure wash that off so you can see better. Hopefully get some riding in this weekend and be fun, guys. set aside the time to, you know, put stocks on, roll around like that, and then break these down so we can sell them. So not sure if we're gonna try to end up keeping the Pro Comp 40s. Also, you know, since we're doing all this, have looked around at the idea of actually getting a different brand of 40, you know, something that looks more aggressive. But that is in the plans right now. So we got the old oil ready to go, sitting in the floorboard right here, about to take it up to, I guess, express oil change or something like that, and they'll probably let me dump it out and throw it away. So we'll be good there, and oil should be good, new oil should be good, so I should be able to crank it up and then start driving it. So I mean, drain plug's tight, filter's tight, oil cap's back on. 5 quarts of fresh 0W20 is now in there, so we should be good to go, guys. I will update you if we have any more issues, but I'm also going to go around these bolts and kind of check them with the torque wrench, probably about 20 foot-pounds maybe, just to make sure they're all kind of equal. They're anti-seize or dirt or anything like that, whatever possible contaminants get in there, don't get packed in there, and that can be cleaned out from the back. So that's, you know, one thing about these wheels is the threads go straight into the wheel. There's no exit hole in the back. So if there's anti-seize down in here, it's packed in there, there's really not a way to get it out. So that's kind of making it hard for the bolts to go all the way down. So that's kind of causing an issue. But I mean, it's not that extreme. Obviously you can see they're all like symmetrical. It's just, you know, when they get close to torque spec value, they were having a little bit of trouble kind of getting tight. So that's kind of, you know, probably the main issue with that there. But previous owner also had an issue with that as well with these on these wheels. So it's definitely interesting, and a lot of experience learned from all of this for sure. But I mean, they are great wheels, you know, they look great. We have the Super Chips flash cal. So I had this for the JK. It's actually got a JK picture on it right there, as you can see, but it's supposedly for the JT. So I mean, should work. I've got to unbox this thing, and I guess I have to plug it up to the computer and you know, get it programmed or whatever I do, update it, whatever it needs, get the software downloaded, follow the instructions and all that stuff. So once I do that, it'd be cool. And yeah, it says right here JT, so that's cool. I guess that kind of solidifies that. But yeah, so I'm gonna do that here in a second and then plug it up. I don't even know where the OBD reader is in these things. Have not checked that. There's actually a good bit of stuff still learning, you know, on this, just being, you know, the new JL platform. Everything's so fresh and just completely redone. So it's just really have been enjoying, you know, learning all the new features, all the creature comforts, and just all the little stuff that they've done, you know, like with the door assisted latch, making it feel like a car door, you know, more modern stuff like that. And just, I don't know if, also one more thing, I don't know if they put like floor dampening, sound deadening material under the carpet or not, or if that's just the way they've designed it, but it does feel a lot more quiet down the road. There's like hardly any road noise, and it sounds very, very you know, just clean and soft and quiet and very sound and very solid too. So very happy, you know, with how it's riding, and the 8-speed automatic trans is definitely very, very nice, especially in terms of daily driving around hills and stuff like that. So very cool. And hopefully this tuner, you know, it's gonna, well, I don't really know if you call it a tuner because it's just the flash cal, but it does have the option if we want to pay for the software and upgrade it to, you know, tuner options. But I guess it's just called a programmer for right now, or a calibrator actually, I'm sorry. So that's just going to be allowing us to, you know, correct the speedometer, correct the shift points for the automatic transmission, and then also delete the tire warning light, the TPMS light, because, you know, we're not running the air pressure sensors in these. They're actually still in the stock wheels, which we do still have, but it's just not worth all the work. And you know, being beadlocks and 40s, we're always aware of the tire pressure that's in them, so we don't really need a tire pressure monitoring system anyways. So just turn that light off And there's a lot of other features that we can do with this as well. So when we get an engine light popped up on the dash, we'll be able to check it with this. So it's like it'll act as a code reader. Probably can do a lot of stuff with like the turn signals and running lights and make those do different things with the blinker switch, you know, stuff like that. Can also probably mess with the idle and stuff too. I think was on the JK model, but not sure about this one. So it's probably going to be pretty much the same thing. So I'll let you guys know how it works out. Right now we're probably getting close to 12 miles per gallon. That's city driving, so it's not the best, but it's pretty similar to what Warden was in the manual transmission. So not the best, but not the worst either. So, you know, we do have a lightweight 40-inch tire and a lightweight beadlock, so, you know, compared to other setups out there. So that does also help in terms of you know, miles per gallon, torque and power, all that good stuff for daily driving. But yeah, it's actually clean right now. Probably going to be heading up to Tennessee or somewhere in North Alabama this weekend, possibly hitting some trails. You know, maybe Dry Creek up in Tennessee, getting it dirty again. So, you know, I got the tires nice and clean right now, obviously, because they were stained with mud. But you know, after using degreaser, pressure washing them off of the Jeep and just letting them dry, putting tire shine on in it, and then spraying that off, it leaves them with a nice dark rich color. So looks pretty much kind of like they're new, which is what we like and kind of always aim for. So, you know, we got the undercarriage all nice and healthy back here too. And if you guys notice, the sway bar link is actually just hanging, chilling right there. It's tight down there on that end, so it's not going or moving anywhere. But the reason why that's popped off is we backed up on the hill right here to turn around in the driveway, and it kind of flexed up this side, and we heard a loud pop noise, and I was like, what was that? So I jumped out and saw that the bolt had broken off. At least I think that's what happened, because I'm pretty sure it was not loose, because last time I checked it, it was not loose. And this side is actually still tight, you know, like I feel the threads on the back, and you know, I tightened both with the same torque spec, so I really don't know why, but you know, sway bar bolts are pretty notorious for either falling out or breaking off. So I guess I should have used a little bit of Loctite on that, but I've got to find another bolt because it went into the next dimension, so I can't find it. And hopefully I'll have one from a JK, I'm sure, but that'll kind of translate over a lot of those factory bolts, like bumper bolts or control arm bolts, shock bolts, something like that will probably work. But I would actually really like to delete the rear sway bar altogether, but that's probably not a good idea right now, because we do not have bump stops in the rear and we do not have extended brake lines. So I mean, these may be long enough. They are for the front for now though, because we have not flexed it without the sway bar connected. So with the sway bars connected, we actually don't really flex the lines and rub when we flex, because we do have bump stops in the front. But I'm pretty sure with the sway bars connected, the lines are long enough right now. So once we disconnect those and test flex, we'll see how long the brake lines are actually going to be. Like I said, with the sway bar connected, we don't really run into any issues flexing on the trail, you know, mile trails, obviously, not actually wheeling. We don't run into any issues with the brake lines not being long enough and stretching out, so that's good. And bump stops, so I mean, I guess the sway bar kind of acts like a bump stop. It'll kind of keep the axle from tucking up too far. So I'm sure if we tried to flex right now with the sway bar disconnected, the tire would probably either hit that little metal piece and start rubbing on the tire, or somewhere up there. But honestly, it's not that bad. So I feel like this has been, you know, pretty easily slapped together. You know, it doesn't really drive the best right now because the kit we chose, you know, we've got to do some more control arm work, stuff like that, tire balancing, all that good stuff. And you know, they're 40s, so it's not the most stable thing on the interstate, but it's not too bad. But in terms of like clearance, like rubbing and stuff, like we have no issues with rubbing whatsoever, you know, with this set of offset on these wheels, you know, no wheel spacers or anything like that. So we do not rub on the frame like we did on the JK. So it's just kind of like they kind of designed the whole platform around bigger tires. So, you know, with cut fenders and a lift, you know, everything pretty much fits and kind of works really well. So I mean, you know, just right out of the box, not having any issues with 40s rubbing, you know, it's a different story with the sway bar disconnected. But you know, what I'm saying is it feels a lot more equipped than the JK in terms of being designed around larger tires. So even like the tire pressure system, it'll show like an overview of a truck, like the top view, bird's eye view of it, and it looks like it has even larger tires on it. So they kind of do little Easter eggs like that here and there, and their little Gladiator always has larger tires than stock looking, because you know that people are probably not going to be driving stock mostly. And also being at 4.5 inches of lift, we have not really had any issues with drive shaft clearance on the exhaust. Like, so you know, like they actually redid the exhaust down here, so we haven't needed any exhaust spacers, so we haven't ran into an issue with that just yet. So maybe possibly one day on some more serious flex, but not yet. So pretty surprised with that. So that's working out really well also. So it's just like a lot of small stuff that were, you know, issues that needed to be addressed on the JK are kind of really non-existent on the newer models. So that's pretty cool to see the way that things are going. And then also this having max tow package, you know, we've got wide heavy duty Dana 44s, so the axle tubes are actually longer, so that keeps us from having to have wheel spacers to have this much stance, which is very nice. So a lot more reliable, safe, and you know, it really prolongs the life more on the ball joints, wheel bearings, and steering joints too. So I mean, it's just all over more healthy for, you know, having as much stance as it does. So really cool, you know, not having to worry about that as much as compared to the JK platform.